Muslims claim it was written down at the time of Uthman. Why does he not walk away?
Jay, also remember something about oral tradition. If oral tradition was so perfect, if oral tradition is so powerful, then why do we have Sunni Muslims and Shia Muslims? They both of them come from the oral tradition, and their oral tradition is different. That tells us.
Written Quran. I want to see a written Quran. Where is this written Quran?
I want to see that too.
The Muslims claim that it was written down.
I heard last time Muslim made a claim that they have gotten 96% of their written Quran.
Let's go back. 1 minute. Let's go back to May 26th. May 26th, we were both on the ladder, were we not? And Mansour got on the ladder next to us. And what did Mansour say on May 26th?
They have got the Quran, which goes back to the oral tradition as well as textual tradition.
History of the Quran back to Uthman. Not just oral, textual history of the Quran back to Uthman. So that means that there is a complete text of the Quran from the time of Uthman, 652 AD. So what's your name?
You know my name,
no,
or you forget? No, you know my name.
No, I forgot. What's your name?
You forget to ask her, because I guess
I'll tell you what it is.
Everybody knows my name. Everybody knows my name.
Do you know his name? Nobody knows my name. So, let's go ahead. So, here we go.
The name is Sayyid F11. The name is Sayyid F11, Yahya, who always condemn all of you, according to your Bible with reference.
Yeah, here we go. Yahya, is the name Yahya?
Yeah, Jay, sorry. When people don't know basics about their Islamic tradition, I think we should engage with him later.
Okay.
So, can we?
But nonetheless, where are you a scholar of Islam?
No.
Okay, we need a scholar here. Well, let's go ahead and ask. According to Mansour Ahmad, who did say this, he said there was a textual history all the way back to 652, back to Uthman. So here's the question we're asked. If there is a textual history all the way back to Uthman, that means the Muslims have to provide a manuscript from the time of Uthman, 652, 114 surahs, complete Quran that is unchanged. The same Quran that we have in our hand today. It must look just like this. Do you know of any Muslim that has a Quran from 652, 114 surahs that looks just like this?
So he admitted 114 surahs, and we know that we have only one Quran orally being written down with the Prophet.
We don't want to hear oral. We don't want to hear oral. You can make up anything oral. I want a written text. Now that was the claim that
this world where that Quran is right now, okay? Any museum.
But from the 7th century.
From the 7th century, or even the 8th century, or even the 9th century.
Why not the 10th century?
Why not the
11th century?
Just go with the 7th century.
You're going to see that there is not even one Quran, even the 11th century.
Where is it?
But let's start with the 7th century.
May I answer?
Where is it, Yahya?
Where is it?
Where is it?
Where is it?
He won't know. He won't know.
You never know.
We
You
have
might know.
every month of Ramadan recitation of the Quran, which is memorized by all people.
This is different than what you are holding. Which one he recites? Ask him which one he recites.
When the Imam make any
Which
mistake,
Quran does he recite during Ramadan?
I was very specific.
Do you recognize this Quran right here? This is an Arabic Quran written by Hisham ibn Ammar. Is this the same as this Quran that I have in my hand right here?
Or which Quran do you recite during Ramadan?
Kindergarten. There are 1,347 differences between these two Qurans. These are both Arabic Qurans. Yet there are 1,347 differences between the Hafs Quran and this one by Hisham ibn Ammar. So which Quran did they memorize?
Ask him which one he recites during Ramadan. Yeah. Which one do you recite? Ramadan, I have two options. Tell me which one do you recite?
It depends about who creates this one and who gives the authority for this one. Because we use the Saudi one. And
You use the Saudi one.
Did you hear it?
anyone.
We're okay. Hold on. We used the Saudi one.
Only the Saudi one.
Hold on. We're going to tell you when that was created. Hold on. This gets better and better. We used the Saudi one. Remember that. Let's continue on. We'll come back to you.
Okay, no problem.
I love you. It's good to see you again.
Hey, we need to get some ice. Ice is.
Okay, well, we remember we are talking about the Arabic Quran in the 7th century, 652, 114 surahs, unchanged. That's the question you're looking for. And you all want the answer, don't you?
Well, except in the 11th, 10th century one, Jay. I've asked this
Don't
question
don't go
many
that
times.
far.
They've never answered me this question.
Now, on
Where
May
is the Quran
26th,
existent Quran
on May
today?
26th,
Today.
go up on DCCI, go up on Fender Films. We filmed what Mansour said. Mansour, you notice, is not here today.
He's over there,
He
Jay.
was over there, but he's now left.
He's over there.
But can you see? He got up on the ladder like he put his ladder next to us, and he said, "We have a textual history that goes back to the time of Uthman." He didn't say Muhammad. He said Uthman. 652. I immediately turned to him. Go look at the video and see what happened next. I say, "Okay, Mansour, show me one manuscript of one Quran that's 114 surahs that's from the time of Uthman." What did Mansour say? He was quiet. He didn't answer. So I gave him a second option. Okay? Show me one manuscript that's 114 surahs that's within the 7th century. 699. He said, "You're not listening to me." That's not what I said, he said. I said, this is Mansour saying, that we have the complete Quran by the 1st century AH, after Hijrah, the first Islamic century. Now, when did the first Islamic century go to? From 622 to when?
721.
719. I said 721 because I gave him 2 extra years. But the first Islamic century goes from 622 to 719. I said 721 on the day because I wanted to give him a little bit more leeway. He said, "We don't have a complete Quran. We have 97% of the Quran by 721. What does he mean by 97%?
Which 97%?
But hold on a minute. Is that 100%?
No.
So there still is no Quran that is complete, 114 surahs by 721 AD. Now I want to show you what he meant.
What about the
And
96th?
there is still no Quran in the 8th century, 114 chapters with 6,236 verses.
How many versions of the Bible you have?
It's your Quran we're talking about.
Do we make this claim about the Bible? No. Do we have the originals?
No.
No, we don't. None of us make that claim. We would never make that claim. But the Muslims are making that claim. So here we go. In order to understand what Mansour was saying, he's looking, you need to go to the Islamic Awareness website, which is the website today that houses all of the Qurans. It's the most extensive website in the world today. It's headquartered at Cambridge University.
It's one of them.
It is the one you need to go to see all the earliest manuscripts. Now, this is the graph they have to get 96%. You notice, it starts very small and gets bigger, 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 bigger. By the 100 years, they have 96%. But they don't have 100%. Is this one Quran?
No.
How do you know?
Because
Turn the page. This is the next graph they have. How did they get 96%? That is it right there. They had to go to 63 different Qurans to find that 96%.
that's what I just said, no.
But hold on a minute. Are any of them complete?
No.
The first one.
Have you ever read it? Have you ever anyone read the Quran and
read it.
have you ever
Just look at the graph.
without any reflection?
Yeah.
Where is our
What does this graph say? That's the percentage of every one of these manuscripts. So the best one is the 2165. It only has 57% of the Quran. That's the best they've got. That's the best they've got.
Let me make a
The
point.
other ones are 22, 22, 22, 19, 17, 15, all the way to only a few ayahs.
He went from 97
63
to 96
fragments.
to 57.
53 fragments. It gets better than that. It gets better than that.
It gets better, yeah.
Have the Muslims on the Islamic Awareness website, have they read any of these manuscripts?
Yes.
Have they
The Muslim recited the Quran in continuous way. Why you say no? Why you say no?
Yeah.
How do you know?
have they read any of these manuscripts?
How do you know?
The manuscripts they never read because they do not recite the same Quran what they are reading today.
Jay, do these still exist?
Can you
There are
see?
63
He says they recited it. Have any of them recited these manuscripts? What do they recite today? Do they recite this one?
They
Or do
recite
they
this one.
recite this one? They have to recite this one. So here's the million-dollar question, Yahya. Is this the same as these?
I don't know what's this because
You don't know.
but I know when
And neither do the Islamic Awareness website. They haven't even read these manuscripts. Why have they not read these manuscripts?
Scared.
Because Muslims do not ask this question. This is not a question Muslims would ask. Only we ask this question because our Bible has already gone through this test. How do we know what our Bible is? We go to all the earliest manuscripts, am I correct? We look at all the 2.6 million pages of the Greek manuscripts. We tabulate what they all say, and we come to a finalized text. That's called historical criticism.
Let me just make a point, Jay. So there are 63 manuscripts where Muslims try to put together 96% of the Quran. Even though with these 63 manuscripts, still they do not have approximately 18 verses of the Surah 2.
Did you hear that? Surah 2 is the largest surah in the Quran, is it not?
Yeah. 286 verses.
286 verses. It's the largest surah in the Quran, and they're missing, all of them are missing what?
So when you put those manuscripts together, you get to have 174 verses. Approximately 100 verses are still missing.
So of these that they have listed here, 170 verses are missing. Now why did they say that?
So approximately 10 of those manuscripts have the Surah 2. And approximately 100 verses of the Surah 2, still we do not have it. No, that's Surah 24.
Now can you see? They took a surah here, they took a few ayahs there, they took another few ayahs here. Can you see how small they are? Every one of these are nothing more than fragments. And by adding them all together, they get 96% of the Quran by 719. Is this a complete Quran? No. Do you see any complete Quran here? So number one, there is no complete Quran. Almost 100 years after Muhammad, they still don't have a complete Quran.
And those are not the same with what we are reading today.
Do these equal, are they parallel with the Quran we have today? We don't know, because they've not read any of them. Now here's the other question. Are all of these prior to 719? We wanted to find out. So we went and did a research. Take a look at what we found. Every time you see an arrow, see those arrows? All of these arrows, 19 of them, are all after 719. They do not, there is no agreement on their dates. these are tentative dates. The scholars do not agree that they are prior to 719.
Let me give the name of the manuscripts.
Take a look at how many of them are the biggest Qurans there. Do you notice? Most of them are the largest Qurans there, proving that this claim that these all go back prior to 719 is a lie.
Welcome to the world of Islam. So manuscripts which is in British Library identified by the Islamic Dawah team as the 1st century Hijra manuscripts. Yet it is identified by the scholars not the 1st century Hijra but late 8th century or early 8th.
Remember, Martin Links dates it to 790, so late 8th century. This is not prior to 719. This is 790. That's a whole 70 years later. But it only goes up to Surah 53. It's missing most of the Surah. Not most, sorry, that's not quite correct. It's missing much of the Quran. Can you then see why we're asking this question? So here's the $1 million question. Since we now know there is no complete Quran up on the 1st century of Islam, up to 719, we know that there's no Quran that's 114 surahs. We know that they claim there's 96% of the Quran. We now dispute that because 19 of the ones they claim, and the biggest ones they claim, are all after 719 by most reckoning of most scholars. There's going to be an awful lot of argument between yay and nay. So here's the next question. Is there a complete Quran by the 8th century?
Complete and exactly the same Quran,
If you don't know, say I don't know, because you are going to lose 1 million. And if you
those are the simple questions. Muslims should know about them. We are not asking you explain us the quantum physics. We are asking you where is the simple Quran? 114 chapters, exactly the same with the Quran what you are reading today from 8th century. Simple question. None of you needs to be Einstein.
Can you tell me where is the complete 114 surah 8th century Quran? Where can I go? Like the British Museum, like anywhere in the world, maybe the Top Cabinet, maybe, I don't know.
We're going to tell you before we end today. We will tell you the answer to this. But you're not going to, he's not going to like our answer. But hold on to that question.
Pick up any copy of the Quran and read it and you will find 114 chapters.
2019.
It's the 2 different copies, brother.
What is claiming? What is claiming?
Yeah, which one of them?
97 to 96 to 54. And this is the contradiction.
Okay, let's continue on. Can you see? Already now pretty much delineated. Hold on. We already pretty much delineated that there is no complete Quran in the 1st century up till 719. There is no Quran up to the 9th century or the 10th century or the 11th century. No Muslim has been able to produce a complete Quran, 114 surahs, even by the 11th century. We're still waiting. So when was the Quran finalized? Hold on to that question. Before we get to that question, do any of these Qurans, do they parallel the Quran we have today? Exactly. Word for word, letter for letter, diacritical mark.
Dot by dot. No.
Can you see? How do we know they don't?
Because Yahya told him.
No, Yahya would not say this. Yahya doesn't know what we're going to do next. Thank God Yahya's up here. He's not a scholar. Don't blame him.
Because people did look at the manuscripts. As they look at the manuscripts, they have seen intentional corrections in the earliest manuscripts.
This is the first man to do exactly what the Muslims should have been doing for the last 1,400 years. He asked this question. He did his doctoral thesis, Dr. Dan Brubaker, but it has his middle name. Dr. Dan Brubaker decided in 2010.
Daniel Allen Brubaker.
Daniel Allen Brubaker. He decided in 2010 to do a study looking at the earliest manuscripts to see if there were any variants. That means words or phrases that are different in the Quran we have today from those manuscripts. He was given permission to go to...
realize that all this name he's given, none of them can speak Arabic or read Arabic?
Really?
And this is,
Dr. Dan Brubaker can speak and read Arabic.
You lie without any shame.
Shame on you.
You lie without
He
any
reads and
shame.
writes Arabic. And he reads and writes Quranic Arabic, which is better than you can do. But here we go. Here we go. Why is it that the Muslims have not done this research? Why have the Muslims not done this research? In 1400 years, it was an American who reads and writes Arabic who had to go to every one of these libraries, every one of the museums, get permission to film them. Now, he was hoping to get maybe one or two variants. By 2014, he finished his doctoral thesis. Guess how many variants he found by 2014? Anybody know? You know.
In 2014, it was only 800.
800. He had found 800 variants in every one.
5 years ago. That was 5
He
years
found
ago.
hundreds of insertions above and below the line. He found hundreds of erasers. Can you see they've erased it? They've erased it. They've erased it. He's found hundreds of erasers overwritten. They erased it, then wrote over top, sometimes in a different ink. Here you can see they've erased it with two words, and they replaced it with kal, a kaf and a lam. Here they've erased it, and they put up another word over top of it. Hundreds of overwriting without erasers. Now, folks, these are the most damaging. The coverings are the worst, because the coverings show that these are intentional human changes. These are human changes. Now, did you notice he then put his first book together? This is the book you can get. We introduced this on May 26th, did we not? On May 26th, we got here, and it was published 2 hours before we got up. Am I correct? How many of those corrections did he put in this book?
I wasn't listening. 22.
22. Not 800, but just 22.
He gave us 22, but today he's got approximately 4,000 corrections in 4,000.
22 out of 4,000 that he has found. Now, why is it Muslims say that the Quran has never changed? But hold on a minute. These are not diacritical changes. These have nothing to do with vowels. Remember, we talked about that earlier. Every one of these changes have to do with the consonantal text. These are much more damaging. Now, we introduced them back in May 26. Do we want to go through all of them today?
I can give you a couple of examples. I can give them a couple of examples. This is Surah 5, verse 116. When we look at the manuscripts, we see all those underlined words were edited into the Quranic manuscripts. And it does change the meaning of the words. They edit, did you say to them? Surah 17, verse 52. Intentional insertions into the Quranic manuscripts, and the phrase they insert is, he will call your name and you will answer. Whole sentence was intentionally inserted. Surah 23 verse 45. The word his brother were inserted. Examples after examples. Human beings correct the eternal word of Allah. Give me some examples, Jay.
Okay, let me show you this one here. Here you see an insertion. Okay, quiet. Can you see? Can you see this has been added at a later date? It's been added between two letters. That is huwa. It is, okay? Or he is. Okay, third person singular. Why did they put that at a later date? You don't need it there. You can still read it without the huwa being there. So why was this added to the text? At a later date, with a different name, completely different author. The reason why, because with that huwa there, it now parallels the 1924 Hafs text. Hold on to that. This Quran here. Look at this one here. There's lahum. That's plural. It used to be laha. Why do they need lahum? They didn't need it plural. You can perfectly understand it. In laha used to be to him. Now it means to them. So why do they need to change it from laha to him to lahum to them? Because it now parallels the 1924 Huff's text. The 1924 Huff's text.
Or it parallels with what they are reciting and reading today.
Take a look at this page. Can you read this? What does that say up there?
Allah.
What does that say there? Allah, 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 Allah. 9 times they had to write the name Allah above the line, adding it at a different date, in a different name. It doesn't need to have Allah there because it assumes that Allah is already there.
Only this one.
This is the only one that you needed it to get there. So why did they add the name Allah 9 different places? You know the answer?
Maybe I forgot.
I've already told you the answer.
Is it forgotten Allah?
In every case, you do not need the name there. It's already understood it's talking about God. The only reason they wrote Allah in all 9 places was so that it paralleled the 1924 Huff's text. Am I sounding like a broken record?
Can I ask one question?
I think it is very sad. As we look at the earliest manuscripts, we do not see one perfect manuscript.
And I find 31 times in Genesis the word Allah in your Bible. Why? Let him answer.
Yahya,
It's 1 pound.
where did you leave your ears, Yahya? Listen, he's talking about your eternal book and you messed up
In
again.
the modern day Arabic Bible, the name Allah is the name for God. Because all over the Arab world, that is the name for God, unfortunately. Now let's go here. What is here? What have you seen? This is an eraser, am I correct? They've erased the word underneath. We don't know what it is. They've not replaced it with anything. What does that tell you? Is this a copyist error?
No.
Or is this an intentional correction?
Intentional.
It's an intentional correction by a human at a later date. They're not even trying to hide it. Can you see what we're showing here? None of these are. Now look at this. This is the cover of the book. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. 4 times. Who's got my book, by the way?
Who got your book?
No, the book, this one here.
Come on, raise the book back.
It will come, it will come.
Someone's got it here. Can you see here? 1, 2, 3, 4 times. They have added other words over here. This is the cover of the book here. Hold this a minute.
That's Surah 6 verse 91.
Allah. Allah should not be there. This word should be here. Min Allah. But this one is written in the margin. They forgot to take this one out and replace it, though they wrote it later. There's another one here. Can you say 1, 2, 3, 4 times? They've had to change the text. Why did they change the text 4 times?
Why is they change the text?
Go ahead. What's the reason?
Why?
It now parallels the 1924 Huff's text. For the same reason they've done it for almost every one of these times. Let's continue on. Muslims are trying to tell us that this is merely a scribal error. An entire line has been added between the lines. Why did they add that line there? Because now it parallels 1924 Huff's text. Here you can see, here is Sama written above it, the 7. Al-Sama, the 7. The 7 what? The 7 heavens. The 7 heavens. Why was the 7 added at a later date? Above the line.
It's a later doctrine.
Because it now parallels the 1924 Huff's text. You still don't get it, do you?
What about the Nile?
In every case, you will see, every case where there's an addition, where there's an insertion, where there's an eraser. Now look here, bimithli. There it says bimithli. Do you notice it has diacritical marks? It has dots above and below the line. It has violation. Can you see the kasra there?
Which must be after.
Can you see the kasra there?
Which must be after.
That is the E sound. That did not exist when this was written. There is no vowelization in any of the script. That was written at a later date, at a later time, in a little bit different dip, with the vowelization in, proving it was written much, much later. Are you following that?
Examples after examples. We see Muslims change their earliest manuscripts and they intentionally correct it.
He still doesn't get it. He still doesn't get it. Now here you have two different manuscripts. You have the Marshall manuscript and you have the British National Library, which is the Petropolitan manuscript. Two different manuscripts. That is the Marshall manuscript. This is the Petropolitan. In the same verse, Surah 34, Ayah 35, it has been changed from Kala to Kalu. He says to they said. The exact same changes in two different manuscripts at the same verse at a later date. Here you can see intentional changes to two completely different manuscripts, thousands of miles from each other, and yet they have the same changes. Why did they change from Kala, he said, to Kalu, they said? Because the 1924 Huff's manuscript has Kalu. Are you following there? Are you following me there?
Who made the changes and when?
Hold on a minute. You're jumping ahead. You always like to jump ahead. We'll get to that. Hold on. Now tell folks, can you see in every case, let's move on because we have a lot of these. I want you now to go to this one here. Number 20. Here you can see an entire covering. Can you see the covering? With an entire line that has been added over the Doha manuscript in Qatan, Doha Qatan. And they've rewritten it in a different ink, completely different ink, with different words. Why did they change it and why did they cover it to begin with? Because it now parallels the 1924 Huff's text. Look at this page. This is the Hosseini manuscript. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Am I sounding boring to you? Can you see? It's the same answer every time.
Who said liar? The guy studied for a long time. Don't tell him liar. He might.
Thank you. He's converting. He's finally converting.
He says I'm not a liar.
You are seeing the evidence by your eyes,
We won't
sir.
show you anymore. We'll show you one last one. Can you see the coverings there? Can you see it there? Can you see it? Yes or no? Can you see a whole thing has been covered right there? Another line has been covered, right? Why did they cover it? And wouldn't you love to pick it up to see what they covered, right? But has it been written in a completely different script? This is a more stylized script, elongated script. A much later script, a much more stylized Kufic script, written at a later time. It is not the same. That's a whole sentence and a half that's been covered over and replaced with three words. Why did they replace it with those three words? It now conforms to the 1924 Huff's text. Are you starting to get it? So what is this Huff's text? Now we're going to answer your question and we're going to answer your question. Your question is, as long as you look at the Ibn Saud family text, the Saudi text, we follow that. So when did the Saudi text come into existence? Who knows? No, not 1924.
1985? 1985?
Hold on a minute. What do we know happened? In the city of Cairo, in Egypt, just one city, they had a problem. Because whenever they had a test on the Quran, they noticed that every one of the answers from the students in high school was different. Why? Because some had this Quran and some had that other Quran that you have, Husseini's Quran. And you should see, there are 1,347 differences between these two Qurans. So how can you have standardized tests in Cairo if you have 1,347 differences between just two Qurans? There were 39 different Qurans being used. Now, how many differences have you found in just 23 of them?
Over 93,000.
Okay, listen, did you hear what she just said? We have looked at 23 of those Qurans. She has 32 of them here in London. And just looking at 23 of them, how many differences has your team found?
There is over 93,000 between those Qurans.
Can you ask her? Can you ask her?
93,000!
Can you ask her if she can read
Hatun,
Arabic?
did you do any of this research?
In Arabic.
Did you do the
I
research?
did listen.
Did you do the Arabic research?
I give them the references for them to check it.
So, did Arab speakers do the research on the words?
Yeah, they confirmed the differences.
So, the differences were done by Arab speakers who know Arabic. They were mother tongue Arabic, right? So, they were all capable of seeing the differences. Am I correct?
They're all capable to explain the differences, but you don't need to be Arabic speaker to see the differences because they are visional. Just take off your glasses, you can see they are written differently.
Have you seen the ones we've shown you? Do they look different when you erase it? Do they look different when you cover it? Do they look different when you insert words above the line? When you saw the bimithlithi, does that not change the text? So these are visual. Do any of you speak Arabic?
No.
But you can see the differences, right? These are all visual, right? So you don't need to speak Arabic to see. These are human intentional corrections. Right? Now let's go on.
What's your answer? What's your answer?
If I recite the Quran, would you know the difference
Okay, here we
between
go.
one and another?
So this was only for the city of Cairo. In 1924, Muhammad ibn Ali al-Husayni al-Haddad. Remember that name?
It's not the prophet.
Muhammad ibn al-Husayni al-Haddad. Can you remember that?
No,
It just drips out of your mouth, doesn't it? He was given the responsibility by the Department of Education of Cairo, only Cairo, to come up with one text, one Quran, only one Quran. If you could open to that page where
Did he manage to do so? No.
So he decided that he was going to look and decide. He chose one Quran. Now look at here. He had 39 to choose from. 39 to choose from.
Which one belongs to you? Which one belongs to you?
I like the green.
Now you notice, every one of these have hundreds, thousands. Here's one that has 5,000 differences. These are from 5 different cities. These are students living in the 8th, the 9th, and 10th century. These are not living at the time of Muhammad. This is not at the time of Uthman. This is 144 years and later. Are you following what I'm saying? These students lived in Mecca, Medina, Damascus, Kufa, and Basra. 2 of them are Iraq. That's in Syria. Those are in Saudi Arabia or in Arabia. Now, he had 39 that he could choose from. We have 32 of them today, don't we? You have them. We have found 93 differences, 93,000 differences with just 23 of them. So what did he choose? Which one did he choose? 6,000. How many verses in the Quran?
6,236.
How many?
Okay, here we go.
How many? 6,000.
So which one of these 39 did he choose? Now we know according to tradition, there were 50 different ones, right?
Yeah, so tradition talks about there are 50 different Arabic Qurans in 939, but when they picked the Hafs Quran, they went with the
Hold on, we haven't got to Hafs yet. You've jumped the gun.
I was answering the question on the Egypt.
So which is the one they chose? She's just giving you the answer. This one right here, colored in black. This is the one that Muhammad ibn Ali al-Husayni al-Haddad chose in 1924. When did he die? 796. What century is that? The late 8th century. How many years after Muhammad? 144 years after Muhammad. 144 years after Muhammad. You don't know your maths. See if I'm correct. 796 minus 632, it's 144 years.
60 something, Jay.
Oh, you're right.
That's fine.
It's even worse.
It's
It's
fine.
Uthman. Sorry, I'm thinking of Uthman. From Uthman to him is 140 years.
It's fine.
Now, here we
you don't need
go.
to go
He
too much.
is the Hafs Quran. That's the one he chose. Why did he choose Hafs?
Because Hafs is nice looking guy.
Actually, that's not true because we don't know what Hafs look like, but we know we cannot trust the Hafs because Hafs borrowed people's book and intentionally he never returned it. We don't know if he was handsome, but we know Muslims did not trust him. But Quran, so they picked the Hafs Quran.
So they picked the Hafs Quran knowing that he was despised by all the others. He was not even trusted because he would not give back that which he had borrowed. But more than that, how many Hafs Qurans are there?
Just a moment. So they did not put the Hafs narration into the Hadith because they cannot trust him. But today they are reading the eternal word of Allah from Hafs.
Okay, hold on a minute. How many do we have Hafs original text?
I have 7 different Hafs Qurans.
There are 7 different Hafs Quran. Do any of them go back to 796?
No.
We don't have one manuscript that goes back to 796. So even the one that he chose in 1924 for only the city of Cairo, we don't even know if it is Hafs Quran.
So we have manuscripts which goes to the Ibn Amir's Quran, but we don't have manuscripts which goes to the Hafs Quran.
Okay, now Hatun, there were 39 different Qurans. One was chosen for the city of Cairo in 1924. What did they do with the other 36 Qurans?
So remember, Uthman burned all the Qurans. In 1924, they sink all the Qurans into the river.
Which river?
They took all the other 38 Qurans, they took them onto a boat.
All what they have. All what they have.
All what they had, which means about 38, they took them onto a boat and they threw them into the Nile River. They're still there today.
Pollution!
But hold on a minute. You don't need to go and find them. Because Hatun has already found 32 of them just by going to modern day
They are not for
marketplaces.
sharing, they are not for sharing. They need to go
I
and
know.
find.
But where did you find your 32?
Oh, well, if you go to the Muslim majority countries, Nigeria, Yemen, Egypt, Morocco, those are very accessible for everyone to buy it, and it is much cheaper than the Hafs Quran.
So you can still get these Qurans today. They are all different, but hold on a minute. Now remember what I said, that this was only for the city of Cairo in 1924. In 1936, the Egyptian government realized what a successful model the Cairan model was. And so they decided to make the Hafs Quran, chosen by Muhammad ibn Ali Husseini al-Haddad in 1924. They decided to make it Egypt-wide. So every Quran in Egypt then became standardized to the Hafs Quran, and it was known as the Farouk edition, named after King Farouk, who came to power in 1936. But that was only for Egypt.
Yeah. What happened in Damascus?
So here we go. Now let's get to his question. So what then, and how is it that the Hafs Quran became the standard Quran for the whole world? Anybody know?
Yeah, for money.
No, it was cheaper to get because the other one was cost more. So that one
In
was
1985,
with the green.
in 1985, King Fahd, who was king of Saudi Arabia at that time, seeing what had happened in Cairo, noticing what had happened in Egypt, realizing what a success it was, he decided that the Hafs Quran would be the standard Quran for the whole world. Now, how many people are older than 1985? Raise your hands. Every one of you that is raising their hands right now, you are older than the Quran. So the Quran that he is reading, he is correct. This is the Saudi Arabian Quran. But it was only chosen 34 years ago.
Which is proof I don't lie. I didn't lie.
Here's the sad thing. Have you noticed how the dawah is smoking their Quran? It is very serious. Islamic tradition tells us that Quran has been corrupted.
Which is good.
History tells us Quran has been corrupted. History tells us human beings stepped into the word of Allah and intentionally changed the word of Allah. And today, we have zero Quran from the time of Muhammad, zero Quran from time of Abu Bakr, zero Quran from time of Uthman.
You just said you have 93
Why we don't have it? Yeah, you left your ears at home. You don't even understand this
Can you see there is not any Quran that we can find in the 1st century of Islam that's complete, right?
2nd centuryism.
We can't find any Quran that is complete from the 2nd century of Islam. That's the 9th century. We can't find any Quran that is complete by the 10th century. We can't find one Quran that is complete by the 11th century.
You mean we
So
can...
Muslims, where is your complete Quran?
JJ, you mean we cannot find any Quran from 10th and 11th century, which is exactly the same what we are reading today?
Yes, he should ask me, not you, because you are Christian. Why don't you ask me?
Dawadim, you have no answer.
Which I'm satisfied with.
It's only 34 years old! It only goes back to 1985! I'm older than that Quran! And so are most of you here today! Because there have been the only official Quran that has now been standardized by the Ibn Saud family and by King Fahd himself was in 1985. There are 39 different Arabic Qurans. The Hafs was chosen only 34 years ago. Now, what do we have said today? When Muslims have a problem with their Quran, what's the first thing they do? Well, unburn them, right? Then what do they do with the Sana manuscript? They washed it off when they didn't like it. Then what did they do? Hold on a minute. You notice they either burn the Quran or wash it off or throw it into the river. And that's not all. When they find a Quran that does not agree with the 1985 King Fahd Quran, they either erase it or insert it or delete it or cover it. Thank God we don't have that problem with the Bible.
Welcome to the world of Islam.
We cannot delete it. We cannot cancel it.
Have you seen Qurans that have been deleted? Have you seen them today?
We show the examples. Whatever you deny, physical evidence was in front of you. Today, you can lie and you can deny. Today, you can pretend you never seen it. But on the day of judgment, when you stand in front of Lord Jesus Christ, you will never able to deny. You will never able to turn blind eyes. It's not gonna help you. You will be accountable for the believing in corrupted Quran. So, here's the alternative for you, Yahya. While you are hungry for the perfect eternal word of God, while you are hungry for someone or something to tell you who got it. It is the way to cross. It is the cross of Christ will help you and then fit your hunger. Because Lord Jesus Christ is the perfect eternal word of God you are looking for. It is the Lord Jesus Christ, the perfect God you are looking for. It is the perfect Lord Jesus Christ offers you perfect eternal life. He is not corrupted. He is not eaten by sheep. He is not...
Please come to Christian. Now, folks, here we go. Here we go. We need to end this up. Bring it down. I want to remember what we said. Remember what we said at the very beginning. What did we say at the very beginning?
Please
come on. Come on to Jesus Christ. Who is the King of Kings?
Jesus!
Who is the Lord of Lords?
Jesus!
Who is God in heaven?
Jesus!
Who is God on earth?
Jesus!
Who died on the cross?
Jesus!
Who then rose again?
Jesus!
Who is now in heaven?
Jesus!
Who waits for you and me?
Jesus!
Who wants to bring you home?
Jesus!
What's his name?
Jesus!
And hear you.
Jesus! Thank you, Jay.
No, wait a minute. We're not finished yet. Okay, hold on a minute. We need to bring this to a conclusion.
One question.
Here we go.
Please, one question. Allow me one question. Allow me one question.
Of course you will ask question. You never answer the one question.
If I want to join Christianity, how can I trust a God who betrayed and forsake his son to die on the cross for his cross.
Let me respond. Let me respond.
Jesus went willingly to the cross. No one betrayed him.
Let me respond.
And everybody can receive his. You can do it even today.
Answer me.
But here,
Answer me.
Let me answer that
He
question.
prayed to God the Father.
I have a question for
to
you.
save him
I have a
from
question.
death.
Hang on.
I'm talking.
You can talk on me.
Father to be saved.
okay, folks, let's wrap this up.
Are you
Hypocrite.
Are you going to heaven? Are you going to heaven? Answer the question.
James,
Okay, folks, what did we start out with today?
Where in the Quran says you have guaranteed to go to heaven?
Quiet. Okay, quiet. You're just going to give him oxygen. Don't talk, sir, talk later. Talk later, not now. Okay, did you notice? Sir, talk later, I'm sorry. Now, did you notice, what did we start out with? We started out with the biblical text, did we not? Did we make the claims about the Bible that the Muslims are making about the Quran? Absolutely not. Do we claim that this book is eternal? Do we claim that it was sent down over a 22-year period or any year period? Was it written by men? Yes. Do we know their names? Yes. Do we put their names on the books? Yes. Are they written over a period of 1,500 years? Yes. In 33 languages? Yes. In 3 continents?
in 3 languages. In 3 languages.
So Muslims make the claim. Muslims make the claim that the Quran is eternal. Okay, Muslims make the claim that the Quran is eternal. Am I correct? Please, stop it. Shut up, both of you. You're not helping. You're making him go faster. Okay, let's continue on. Do Muslims make the claim that this is their book is eternal?
Yes.
Do they make the claim that it was sent down to Muhammad over a 22-year period? Do Muslims make the claim that it was complete to the time of Uthman? Yes. Do Muslims make the claim that it's never changed since then? Yes. Have we destroyed that today? Yes. But hold on a minute. Is this the only word of God we've got?
No.
Jesus. Is there another word of God who came to earth and took on human form? What is his name? Jesus. What is his name? Jesus. Okay, now let's ask the same questions of Jesus that we've asked of the Quran. Is Jesus eternal? Yes. Did Jesus come down? Yes. Is Jesus complete? Yes. Has Jesus ever changed? No. Who is the Word of God? Jesus. What is his name? Jesus. My voice is gone. Yes. Everything the Muslims want, we've got. The things they want for their Quran, we've got in Jesus Christ. Can you see we can answer every question because of Jesus Christ? Folks, just come back to Jesus. He is the Word of God, the eternal Word of God. He never changes. He is complete, and He's here today. And we're saying hello to Jesus. God bless you. It's been great to be with you. Thanks, Hatun.
Thank you,
You shaitan. Yes. Jesus will take you away from me because he takes you to Rome.